Welcome to Purple Rain Sports, rulers of the airway. We are the one and only podcast featuring Wildcat Sports. I am your host, La Voz de los Gatos, BDE 76. Joining me as always, our producer / co-host, Mr. Albert Sosa. Wildcat Insiders, Mr. Sam Castro, Mr. Alan Sanchez, and taking us back to the old school. Y'all know his name, y'all know his number 51, Brian Perez. Last but not least, providing technical support, Double J.
Do you want to turn your next fiesta into a feast? Well, Margie Bar's Barbecue is the right caterer for your event. Enjoy some fine smoked brisket, chicken, pork ribs, sausage, and much more. In other words, you name it, we will smoke it. Margie Bar's Barbecue is owned and operated by me, Margarito Ayala Jr., and the number is 830-322-4415. Once again, the number is 830-322-4415.
Hey Margie, aren't you forgetting something?
What's that, Ernest?
I've been around the world, and I've tasted a lot of barbecue, but this one is just worth eating.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Ernest.
Coming to you live, Season 4, Episode 8. I don't know if y'all can tell, we're back where we started, Area 51, folks. This episode, we will be talking about last week's game between your Carrizo Springs Fighting Wildcats, traveled to Poteet land, and took on the Fighting Aggies.
Yeah, in case you're wondering, I just wanted to say something really quick, very briefly.
Okay,
so we've been doing the show at 5D's. We do appreciate 5D Steakhouse and Bar for letting us host our show there, but I kind of feel like, and I think the consensus is that we kind of got away from why we started the show, right? You know, so now instead of just being all about, you know, and it was a great atmosphere, the crowd, all that stuff, you know, and we didn't want to just be about just the beers and the, you know, the wings. But we do, like I said, we do appreciate 5Ds for having us there, but we wanted to come back to our roots, to the basics. So we came back to Area 51. We are going to focus on Wildcat sports as a whole and not so much about trying to build our crowd. We want listeners. We want you guys out there to listen to Purple Rain Sports. Hear what we have to say about the Wildcats. We're coming back to basics. We're all about the Wildcats. And you know what? This doesn't have anything to do with the win, right?
No.
This is just something that, as a consensus, we felt like it was the right thing to do.
well, the win does help with morale.
Oh, morale, yeah.
Because
But
when somebody dies, it doesn't mean that you're happy at the funeral home.
well, it all depends on who died. But
Wow.
I mean,
True that.
you know.
True that.
Anyway,
Usually a funeral celebration.
so in case you're wondering, you know, and honestly, I'm glad to be back in Area 51. I just was hoping for some chili and some cornbread. You know, what happened, Brian?
You know, the
What
last
happened?
thing I remember about Area 51 is it was cold back then, and it's
still
freezing.
cold,
It's
right?
still cold right
It's
now.
awesome in here. I like it.
I got my long sleeve. It's cold. It's cold.
I guess
It's a
we
cold
know
one here.
We know the hero's
Let's do it.
kryptonite.
All right, guys.
Let's do this.
We're back in Area 51. We're glad to be back. Brian's home. We're, back where we started, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So let's kick off Season 4, Episode 8. Who wants to start it off?
Well, last week they played against Poteet. Final score was 32-27. An exciting game from beginning to end. Cats started off kind of slow, fumble at the kickoff. Then, gave Poteet some prime field advantage. And then it actually took them a while to score from there. Defense stepped up, but, they still punched it in. But after that, I think the morale changed and the kids kept coming back until the very end. And
The good thing is, it was an exciting game. At the beginning, I know we had that fumble off that initial kickoff. They scored. I mean, they had trouble scoring, like Sosa said. They did have trouble scoring, which shows great poise from our defense. But throughout the whole game, it was just exciting, man. Overall, it was just an exciting game. it's
no matter what side you were on.
no
I guess
matter what
yeah.
side.
It was a
great.
tough first half. Oh, it was a really tough first half to watch. For those of us that were at the game, the defense did everything they could, but Poteet was running the ball. They were actually able to run the ball, and they did put up. I think the halftime score was 19-6. If I'm correct, 19-6. But Poteet got the ball back. The first possession of the third quarter of the second half, they actually ran it back, but it was called back because of a penalty. And then the consecutive play, the next play, they threw a pass. But from that point, after they scored that in that first series in the third quarter, the defense shut them down. And it actually gave the Wildcats a chance to put some points up on the board. And they really did. They changed it up. They threw the ball. I think two of the second half touchdowns were passes. One to Carizales, and then the clutch pass was, Avery. Avery Ramirez just played. That boy just played, hard. And it's his runs after the catch that really, really sparked the offense for the Wildcats. And then Ethan Aguilar, of course, when you have a player like Ethan Aguilar in there, that's just another weapon that we had been missing the last couple of weeks. And it's just great that he was able to come back for district play and perform the way he did. So my hat's off to Ethan Aguilar, along with the rest of the cast, the offense. Markey made some good decisions. There weren't a lot of turnovers. I don't think there were any turnovers for the Wildcats.
There were.
Right. But in the second half?
Yeah. No, I don't know about the second half.
No,
Yeah,
not
the second half was those Wildcats.
Turned it up. It went,
There's this group of guys from the north
There was
that
one
always but they always say that the Wildcats are not a second half team or a fourth quarter team. But I think the Wildcats proved it this time that they're going to play the four quarters, and that's exactly
But
what.
where do you get that from? Do you listen to that show?
No, I don't listen,
don't,
but I
no.
just hear it. I just hear everybody talks about it. These guys talk about the
Well, there
Wildcats.
must not be a lot to talk about if that's what they're talking about.
But anyway, that's just my take. Is that they're not just a first half team or whatever. They played the whole game this time.
It was a
And
good
it
showing.
took everything that they had, and they came out with the win. And everybody contributed. The defense shut them down. They held them to one score in the second half, and then the offense came in and they put up the points that they needed to do.
I think a lot of things why other teams kind of score on us or get the advantage is because of, again, our youth. I think little mistakes here and there that kind of happen when they're not supposed to happen at the wrong time in the wrong spot, deep in our end zone, deep in our side of the field or something. I think that'll, with experience, hopefully with more time than playing, I think that'll help in the coming years.
And I hate to beat a dead horse, but the secondary once again was getting beat again, really bad, the secondary. And I hate to rag on them like that, but when the game came down to the wire and Poteet had the opportunities to come back and put some more points up and maybe come out with the win, the coaches actually made a change in the secondary. They put some players in the secondary that we hadn't seen. They put Navarro in the secondary. They put Carizales on corner. And they put Navarro to cover the slot, right, if I'm correct. Mm-hmm. And it actually shut them down.
Or free safety.
And it actually shut them down, and it kept them from being able to capitalize on what they were able to, take advantage of prior to that. And I think it was a good coaching move. I don't want to say anything bad about the players that were in there previously, but the coaches did what they need to do to be sure to protect the points and to keep them from scoring again.
Because we all know how it ended. We had that exciting play from Mark Maldonado to Ethan Aguilar, the bobble, and he caught it and he controlled the ball and ran it in. But what led to that was a fourth and I think it was 4th and 16 or something. But play before, and he went for it. And the defense stopped him, and then the next couple of plays or whatever was when that pass.
I think we've said it all season with this team. It's a young squad on the defensive side, but that's the spark that they need. And I think going into the next games, you always want to start district with a win, and going to the second week, and this week's going to be a big challenge. But real quick, we'll go into who we think is last week's player of the game.
God.
Hold on. Do we want to do offense and defense? Can we do that? One offense, one defense.
Sam, this is our show. We can do whatever the heck
Whatever
we
you want.
Hell yeah.
You want to do both?
Whatever
One
we want.
special teams. You want to pick somebody from the concession stand, a bandad from somewhere, or
The
something.
bandad. You know what? They called me to go work the concession stand, but I said no. You know what? Player of the game. Dude, it's just so difficult watching all the kids the whole game. For me, I think it's for the player. It's going to be players of the game for me. It's going to be the entire team because the energy that they all displayed, that they all showed from beginning to end was just it was. I mean, it was unrealistic. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy the whole game. I mean, I was up on my feet yelling, cheering. I didn't have it on because it was a cold night, but I had a beanie, a Batman beanie that I was, you know what, I held it in my left hand for good luck. So it was, you know, the rally caps and all that stuff that I was doing, and it was my little superstition thing. But the energy from the entire squad was just great. I mean, it's for me. I'm gonna pick the whole team. I know stats show this kid this and this other kid did this. Markey came up and he came back from the injury from not playing a couple of weeks ago. Ethan, crazy that first play, that first run that he had for 10, 15, 20 yards. I don't know how much it was. Just the guts that kid has to come back from that injury, from that gruesome injury that he had, and watching him out there was just unbelievable, man. It was crazy. The whole team for me are my players of the game.
Well, I'm gonna piggyback off what the hero said about the whole team. When you win, the whole team wins, not just one player. But I'm gonna go with Ethan Aguilar only because I'm gonna repeat what he put pretty much about a day after his injury on the tweet. He said, "This is quote. This is Ethan's Twitter. This tweet that he put. He goes, doctor said I'm out 8 to 12 weeks. He must be tripping. I won't give up like that. I'll be back by district, healthy to put on the show. Just watch me." And what did he do? What did we do?
He put on the show.
We watched him put on the show. Now,
Hats off.
Hats off to that dude. So that's my take.
Well, my take, I mean, I have to go with, I'm going to go on both sides of the ball. We had a lot of leadership, and I can't pick just one player because it took a lot of big plays, you know. Of course, Ethan Aguilar, man, he was just a spark out there, and he wanted to be out there. He was hungry. He was ready to go. Avery Ramirez, some big-time catches. Avery, Josh Carizales, and then Markey. You know, you got to give hats off to the captain of the ship. You know, Markey just played some good ball. He made some good decisions. You know, and I think that the coaching staff, you know, I previously I've been a little hard on them, but they made the changes that they need to make to preserve that score and to preserve that win, you know. And then you can't say anything bad about the defense, man. They stepped up, and it's a young defensive squad. And I'm not going to be biased again, but you know, there's a number 9 out there that had 13 tackles, but he's not the only one out there. The defense, whenever it came down to it, they shut him down. So hats off. But you know what? To see Ethan Aguilar come back the way he did, man, you know, I got to tip my hat to that kid, man. Because, you know, I was there when he had that injury. Like you said, that gruesome injury. And you're like, oh, man.
Yep.
You know, and he came back. He said he was coming back. And you know what, man? Here you go.
He said he's going to put on a show.
And you would see him limping, and he didn't seem like
I have one more message. There is some people up from the north that like to announce the Dimmitt County Wildcats. This is Carrizo Springs, fool. This is Carrizo Springs Wildcats. It's not Dimmitt County. They go to Carrizo Springs High School. And whenever we beat that ass up in the north, then you're going to have a different story. That's my take on it, man. That's my take.
Preach. Bet. Fire.
All right, Albert. Your turn, Albert.
I guess I can take this opportunity to give you some stats on because I mean we had some pretty good stats starting with Mark Maldonado. Mark Maldonado had 248 yards on 13 completions of 21 attempts.
Wow.
So
He was South Texas leader.
Well, his pass per yards was 19 yards per catch, per pass, whatever. He had 134 QBR, which is, if you see the NFL, rating. That's that's almost a perfect rating. Almost. It's not
quarterback rating for those of you that don't know what QBR is.
QBR is, quarterback rating. Rushing, you had Carizales, who had 107 yards on 24 carries, which is a 4.5. Ethan Aguilar, 7 carries for 7 carries for 54 yards with a 7-yard per carry. So, and guy coming back from what he came back from. Receiving leading was Avery Ramirez with 100 and he led all receivers 101 yards on 6 catches.
Damn.
So
Yes.
that's
But you
16,
see, anytime that you have 2 or 3 guys with over 100 yards, you should win the damn game.
Yeah.
And they did.
But you also got to think about with Avery, he had a lot of yards after the catch.
Yeah, well,
You
the
know,
one score he had,
Yeah,
that
and
brought
he
everything back.
he just
led the
ran
momentum
tough.
back.
He
Yeah.
played tough.
I think it's the second time he's done that where he scores a touchdown at the right time that brings the team back, kind of inspires the team, and he did it again this one. So.
Because he's family.
Oh, here we go again. No, he's not. He shouldn't be.
My family.
So, and then of course defensively, you had David Castro leading the Cats with 13 tackles, 10 solo, which is very important.
That's my boy.
And then you had Oscar Ramirez, who wasn't a defensive player. He's the second guy with 7 solo tackles, 9 total. JP John had 10 total, but he had 5 and 5, solo and assists.
JP?
So,
Wow.
Yeah.
You're waking up.
But
Defense
and
is
the
tough.
good thing is a lot of the kids, if you stretch it out, a lot of the kids had 5, 5, 5.
That's
which
called
is-
teamwork.
That's spread
That's
out.
teamwork. That's all
That's
just-
spread out in defense.
That for me, that's like the team is all over the ball, man. They're all over the place. As a team, they're all over the place.
And then you had two fumbles caused. One wasn't, the 3 fumble recoveries, so they had 3 turnovers for fumbles. They had no interceptions, so it's the 3 turnovers or the fumbles by the defense. Cesar Peralta had 1, Ethan and David Castro had the other. So that's something. That's my players of the game right there. Leaders in the stats. Those are my.
Well, I'm going to piggyback off what all you guys said, and I'm going to sum it up real quick. I think both sides of the ball are my MVPs. Just all around great team win. I wasn't able to make the game, but I was keeping close tabs via social media, and just wanted to give my congrats on the first win of district to the Wildcats and the coaching staff. Y'all guys, as they say nowadays, turned up. So we look forward to seeing y'all this week against the Pearsall Mavericks. We're traveling to Pearsall. So get there a little early, head to Cowpokes. Y'all see me there and get the smoked turkey. Guys, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Good.